Hello, hockey fans, and welcome back to another episode of High Flying, the podcast made for the fans.
By fans.
As always, my name is Nolan, and I'm here with my co-host Jude.
What is going on?
Thank you to all of those who gave their opinion. I thought we were going to get a lot of hate on the dress codes one. It seems like a lot more people are in favor of bringing the dress code back than not, which I think is a good call.
Nice.
Um, Yeah, I guess lots of stuff going on in the sports world. Jude, don't say anything for like 5 seconds so I can get this out. But we just had the Super Bowl. We had the start of the Milano Olympics, and we did have a couple, I'd say, notable events in the National Hockey League leading into their Olympic break that we haven't covered yet. Um, so where do you want to start there?
Well, I think first of all, we should give a shout out to all the lovely people who are contributing on social, especially over on the talk there. Lots of comments, lots of likes on our most recent reels, most of them shitting on me. So but I'll take it. I'll take one for the team. I stand by my take. But yeah, thanks to everybody for following along and contributing on the socials and stuff.
Yeah,
How's the
I was gonna
how's
say
the
we love to hear your comments, even when they're wrong,
right,
which
yeah.
they are most
Everybody's
of the
allowed to be
time.
wrong every now and again. How's the reel for the dress code doing? I didn't really check.
Not good.
Not as good as the other one.
No, it's only like 1,000 views. I think it's like 40 likes or something, but that's okay. It's you know why though? It's because people agree with us, and I feel like online this is gonna be we're gonna start off with philosophy. Let's never mind sports. People want to voice their opinion more when they have an opposing view, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a good point. I agree. But anyways, just wanted to give that shout out. Maybe we'll go from the bottom to the top here. We can start with the trades maybe.
The trades, big trade. Not as big of a return as I would have thought. Artemi Panarin is now a Los Angeles King. I believe it was what a third and a fourth going back to the Rangers and Liam Greentree.
Yeah, I think one of them's conditional, like could become a
Oh, there it is. Ethan just had it. But wait, go back up, back up, back up. Keep going. Where is it?
that's a
Oh, that
mock.
was a mock trade. Never mind. That's not the real thing. I thought it was a third and a fourth in Green Tree. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I believe you're correct. I think one of them's conditional, one of the picks. But yeah, for LA, I mean I understand it. They need scoring. Kopitar, it's his last season, so it gives him a little bit of security on offense going forward. Panarin is having I mean, the Rangers stink, but Panarin's still putting up over a point a game. Um, from everything I heard, it sounded like LA was kind of his spot that he wanted to go to, and he kind of controlled everything how it was going here. So I think it'll work out for LA, though I still don't think they really can do anything this year. I don't have a lot of faith in them overall. But it works for them. The Rangers, everybody knew it was coming. They're kind of having a fire sale, but I always think it's tough to get maybe the return that everybody thinks you should when everyone knows you're shopping a guy and he kind of has all the say in where he's going to go.
Yeah, just based on some of the other trades we've already seen, like even Sherwood got you got a second round pick out of that for Sherwood. So that's why I was a little surprised it wasn't more like, you know, keep in mind, like as you were saying, this is a guy who operates at a point per game rate on most nights, if not more. Multi-time All-Star, former Calder winner. I think he's hit 100 points before, I'm pretty sure. So I was a little surprised that even though he was on the block, that it wasn't a competitive enough market um, to get more out of that. I think that the big thing was there was no guarantee of an extension going into the trade, and that probably hurt his value a little bit. He did get an $11 million 2-year AAV deal done for an extension with LA. If they had that in place ahead of time, they probably would have had to give up a little bit more. So I'm sure LA is happy with the way that worked out.
Yeah, for sure. And Green Tree, I mean, I hadn't heard of him before the trade, but looking into him, his junior numbers are insane. So obviously, I think he is a solid prospect, which made it okay for the Rangers in their minds to take a little bit less on the picks. And I think like conditional, both of them are conditional, so I think they can become a second and a third. Um, I
Probably conditional, I assume, on LA making playoffs or like winning a certain number of rounds, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. I can't remember exactly what they are, but yeah, you're right. It's gonna be something like that. Did you hear that the Kraken uh apparently offered Panarin a 4-year deal with like a higher AAV than Draisaitl?
Wow.
That's the report. I can't remember who reported that. I'll go find it, but yeah, he turned that down. Didn't want to go to Seattle.
You know,
Tough
he's
nut to
getting to the
crack.
end of his career. He wants to win a cup. Like he spent a good portion of his career in Columbus, so I understand why he would want to go to at least somewhat of a contending team. Now, like obviously, as we're recording this, LA is not in a playoff spot, but they're right in the hunt in the Pacific, 3 points out.
Yeah, so that was a
Ironically,
question.
Seattle is the team that's directly above them, but I'd feel probably more comfortable with my time in LA right now than I would in Seattle. And at the very least, dude, like it's not my flavor. Like I've never been a big LA sports market kind of guy. I've been to LA several times. It's a lovely city, great people. Never been my cup of tea. But I imagine that if you're not winning a cup, the off seasons in California are a little bit nicer than in Seattle, so that probably factors into it a little bit as well.
Yeah, can't go wrong living in Manhattan Beach. And I did just read it was an Elliot Friedman report. He turned down a 4-year, $56 million extension to move up to Seattle, which I guess like you've been living in New York all that time. I can understand not wanting to go literally as far away as possible from what you've known the last number of years. So, anyways, yeah, I do think it'll help the Kings. Do I think it moves the needle enough for them to be competitive? Not really.
Yeah, and when you say competitive, you mean in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I mean for like I think they'll be in the hunt for the playoffs like going forward, but do I think they're a cup contender? No. I think they're
Right.
very far away from
Yeah, because the whole division, for a lack of better words, just kind of sucks right now.
it.
And LA's smack dab in the middle of that suck.
Yeah. That's suckage.
That suckage. I guess speaking of suckages, we kind of spent a lot of last week's episode kind of shitting on the Sun Belt teams. However, the best rivalry in hockey right now has a lot of sucker punches, and that might be the Battle of Florida. Because so far this season, every single time every time I watch Florida and Tampa go up against each other, and this is not me advocating against our take from last episode. I'm just saying, like, right now in this current moment, I always feel like there's going to be a new record set for penalty minutes when it's those two guys going at each other.
Yeah, that was pretty fun to watch. I think on the ice, it always helps when teams like that, like whether it's Battle of Alberta or Ontario, Florida, this one, when both teams are good, it obviously adds another element to it. I do think the fact that both these teams have like a combined 100 diehard fans sort of minimizes it a little bit in my mind for being an all-time rivalry, but it is cool. Like this is the type of shit that's going to draw people in to the game when you see some actual hatred going on. These guys do not like each other. And it'll be pretty fun to see how this shakes out the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I think you brought up two really good points there. Like the reason this is so highlighted right now is because both teams are doing well. Obviously, like Florida has back-to-back cups. Tampa has multiple cups. They made the cup finals 3 years in a row. So these are both competitive teams. So for anyone who watches this and they're all like, oh yeah, the state of hockey in Florida is great. Like the state of hockey in Florida is great because they're winning, right? Like just wait till they're losing again and it's gonna go straight down the drain. Like the test of a good hockey market is when you can fill the seats when you're not having the success in the points column. And the other thing, yeah, like you mentioned, Battle of Alberta. Obviously, there are some great rivalries in hockey throughout the years, and I can only go back as far as I've been alive because I've seen I've seen obviously videos of rivalries previous to that, but this kind of reminds me of the first really big rivalry year since the Battle of Alberta, the Kachuk Cassian year, which seems like Matthew Kachuk's always involved in this. We had Kachuk and Cassian go at it several times that year. Um, what was it? Mike Smith and Cam Talbot dropped the gloves in that one. Had a nice goalie fight there. So if you want a guy that gets you fired up, you get Matthew Kachuk on the team. Drop the gloves with Brandon Hagel. A little nice Four Nations rematch. Good on Hagel for answering, and I think he got the better of Kachuk in that fight. I think it was, if you watch the clip though, it looked like Hagel might have been in trouble. And then I believe it was JJ Moser kind of like grabs Kachuk a little bit from behind, or like tries to grab Kachuk, and then Forsling comes in, which is a little bit of a questionable play. If two guys are dropping the gloves, don't, let them fight it out. Don't necessarily be the third man in there. But then he got beat up by Gustav Forsling, so that kind of all evened out.
Dude, he got his fucking lunch fed to him by Gustav Forsling, and it took a bit for Forsling to drop him too. You could tell he's not, obviously, I think most people know he's not necessarily a fighter or an agitator by any sense, but he obviously just hit the point where his wires crossed, and then he just started feeding Moser, man.
Yeah, well, like as soon as he touches Kachuk, I think that's the end too. And like the other thing you have to think of is Kachuk just came off of a long-term injury, so you don't want him getting injured in a fluke play. If an extra guy comes in. But yeah, good on Forsling for just answering the bell, and not even just answering the bell, just kind of silencing all questions on that one.
Yeah, he should do it more, to be honest.
There should be more. Yeah, yeah. I think there should be. We got to bring back some fighting. We got to bring back some fighting. I'll just tell you this. I'll just tell you this because we were going to do our nicknames, right? And we can still do them. But I think one of the best nicknames in sports actually belongs to a hockey team. It was so good. It was so good that when I was like, obviously I was a kid. Like now I know the truth. But when I was a kid, like I'm like, oh, this is the actual team name. Like I thought like this was like a separate like team name, but like just the fact that the 72, 73 Philadelphia Flyers were called the Broad Street Bullies, like that has to be one of the sickest sports names of all time.
Yeah, pretty good era for the Flyers. Haven't really sniffed that kind of success since then, but that is a pretty sweet nickname. That's Bobby Clark and the boys. I can't really name, I feel bad. I can't really name too many players that would have been on those teams.
Yeah, I can name them. Yeah, probably like if you ask me like who is on the 72, 73 Flyers, I probably couldn't tell you.
I like confidently, I can only say Bobby Clark. I don't know where I'd go after that.
Just trying to think. I'm trying to bring back my Puckdoku knowledge, but I don't really know too many like old school Flyers, unfortunately. Like, oh, I guess Bernie Parent is down there, the goalie. Yeah, my old school. I like the Rangers. I like going to Andy Bathgate a lot, and then any old school Canadians and Yvon Cornwallier, Steve Shutt, those kind of guys. So I'm pretty good with my Rangers and Canadians from back in the day. Not so much the Flyers. Yeah, we got the Canucks in there. Fun fact about the Canucks, I don't want to say the old school Canucks, but one of my high school counselors played for the Vancouver Canucks. Uh, I guess, shout out, friend of the show. I'll call him a friend of the show. Mr. Wilcox.
Well,
I'm gonna, I think his first name is Barry. I think Barry Wilcox was it Barry Wilcox?
gotta check the elite prospects. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. God love him. Barry Wilcox. Sorry for not getting your first name right away. Obviously, in high school, we didn't call him Barry. We called him Mr. Wilcox because that's the respectful thing to do in high school. But big shout out there, friend of the show, Vancouver Canucks alumni, Barry
33
Wilcox.
NHL games, not bad.
There you go. It's 33 more than I got.
Yep, me
Look
too.
at that. You can tell he's ready to beat people up. Look at him. He's ready to go in that.
Oh, yeah. Those are kind of some fire jerseys, actually. The one like the white skate ones, the old ones. Or shit, I meant like the white rink. My bad. But yeah, that's never been
Yeah.
my favorite logo, but I do like having like the white background in the middle of the jersey.
It's such a garbage logo.
It is pretty bad, but
You know what it almost like you could kind of do with it if you really wanted to like stretch it. You could almost say it looks like a whale head with like the stick being the part where like the mouth is. If you really want to stretch that out.
I see what you mean. But yeah,
Yeah, you can see it. You can see it. We can get creative. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah. Just put some eyes on there or something.
I'm not bad at it. Is there what's the other trades that went down?
There's two other trades, but like neither of them are big. One of them was Gavin White to the Flames in exchange for Jeremy Poirier to the Stars, and Nick Bukestad to the Devils in exchange for Thomas Bordeleau and a fourth round pick to St. Louis. So nothing big.
Yeah, I mean, Bukestad's a good player. Career, I guess you could call him a journeyman at this point, but
Yeah, a couple of teams making trades that aren't going to make the playoffs. So unfortunately, I was really high on St. Louis coming into the year, and they just kind of fucked it up. I think you know what I think it was. I think it was the jerseys. I think it was a little bit of the jerseys added a little bit of aura around them, and unfortunately, it did not translate to their play on the ice.
I I can't hate the thinking though, to be honest, because those jerseys, I mean, that's one of the nicer jersey changes we've seen in a long time. So even though they're not playing too well, not winning too many games, I think if I was a fan, still be happy about that. Still rocking the jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah. What
actually,
did you have them second in the Central at the
I
start of the
had
year?
them. I had them third in the Central. I had Dallas number one, and I had Dallas winning the President's Trophy. I had Colorado number two, and then I had St. Louis third in the Central. Which, like, to be fair, at the start of the season, that's not a terrible thought process. Like, nobody expected Minnesota to pop off as well as they did, I don't think.
Yeah, dude, isn't that insane? Like if the Golden Knights or Oilers were in the Central, they'd be like fighting for a playoff spot.
I'm telling you, gotta redo the point system. Actually, there's a guy, give a shout out right here. I'm gonna put him on blast. Um, but one of our listeners, um, now that we say it on air, he's going to have to do it. So big shout out to one of our listeners, John Walsh. He said he every year he tracks what the points would be without the loser point, how it shakes down. What he does is he does 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime or shootout win, and then just 0 points across the board for loss. Mr. Walsh doesn't like to reward losing, and so yeah, big shout out to John Walsh, and he said at the end of the season, if he can, he'll send us in the results so we can tell you who should be the accurate division winners and what the accurate division standings should be on a proper point system.
Yeah, I think it's served its time. The nice 0, 1, 2 point system, but I would definitely be okay if they switch it up a little bit, freshen it up. But more than that, I want to go back to the 1v8 playoff system. I just think it's a lot truer and rewards teams really how they should be for winning your division. Like it's pretty tough if you finish second and third, you're playing each other. Well, most of the time, I just think that's kind of horseshit. But
Right, I agree. I
tired of seeing
agree.
Oilers Kings in the first round every single year. Like we get it.
Yeah. Well, we may not see that. Well, actually, we could see that this year still. That's gonna be such a bad matchup this year. That was brutal.
Yeah, the Oilers are no. Still no team in the Pacific has a an actual winning record.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. Terrible. It's a disgrace, is what it is. It's a disgrace. You know what's not a disgrace? The Olympics, because they used the proper point system for hockey. And men's Olympic hockey kicked off this morning as we are recording this. We are in the Pacific Standard Time Zone, for those wondering. And we had a couple of games. And first thing I'll start with, we can start with the Italians, the home nation, popping in, I believe, two goals what was it, two goals on four shots on Gustafsson before he kind of figured out how to play in net there. The first thing I'll say is the Italian jerseys, they still don't look great, but they look better on the ice than they do in a photo. And the next thing I'll say with that is like yes, he led in five goals. That's never great, but I like the Italian effort there that they showed up with. And I don't know if this should be a concern for Sweden or not.
I did you watch any of the game? So I watched a fair bit of it, and Sweden was obviously the better team. Like the shots will tell you that, puck possession will tell you that, but Italy worked hard. They definitely were a better team than I was expecting to watch. I don't in my brain like it's gonna be a bunch of guys that could barely skate, but then I'm like, no, all these guys are professionals to some degree. Like I doubt they're just gonna roll over and let them die. But Italy's goalie really kept them in it for the first two periods. He actually ended up getting hurt, which might be
Great.
might be tough for them going forward in the tournament because he's like 6'6", just a massive goalie. And yeah, he was kind of shutting Sweden down there. But Sweden definitely looked like the superior team. I feel like it's one of those cases where you fly over to Europe, they're probably all still a little bit jet lagged. Your first game's against Italy. I know everybody says you got to respect your opponents, but it can be a little bit harder to get yourself up for games like this when the talent disparity is massive.
Well, and the other thing too, that's a really good point. First of all, is even though it's Team Sweden, 100% of those players play in the National Hockey League, so they just came over from North America, where all the Italians are already in Italy. And for Italy, it's probably pretty easy to get up for a game in front of your home crowd, like um whether you have the skill on paper or not, there is definitely a momentum boost you get from playing in front of your own fans. And when it's a world stage like the Olympics, there's really nothing bigger than that.
Yeah, yeah, it triggers the shit out of me that their jerseys are mostly blue. Makes no sense for Team Italy. They don't have blue in their flag. Just stupid jerseys. I agree they looked better on ice, but still the color combo is hideous. Just makes no sense to me. So
Actually, you know
they
what?
ended up blue.
Do you remember do you remember the last Olympics in Beijing? I know there's no NHLers there, but like with Team China um playing hockey, that's kind of what I expected from Italy. Like I thought they were going to get swamped like the Chinese would back in the last Olympics in Beijing, and they didn't. They stood their ground pretty good. So go good on them. Good on the Italians. Anaheim's goaltending looks pretty solid. I believe the goalie in question was Damian Clara, who's an Anaheim Ducks prospect.
Oh,
So there you go. First Italian to be drafted into the National Hockey League. There you go. A little trivia for you. We had a second game today, where Finland, the jerseys look just as good on ice for me as they did in the picture. The team, however, did not look that good on the ice.
yeah, they got spanked. I didn't get to see any of this game really, so not quite sure what happened. But Yuri Slavkovsky, just an Olympic demon, won MVP in the 2022 Olympics, and he started off, or he picked up right where he left off this time around. Got two goals in this game. Finland's got to be a little disappointed. No Rantanen, I think, is obvious. Or sorry, no Barkov is obviously massive for Team Finland. That's a pretty huge loss.
Yeah, still looking at it though. Like you look at the talent that they have on paper, and then I just go straight to the goaltending department too. Like I think, on paper, Finland has the clear stronger goaltending. But yeah, the Slovaks came to play. Slavkovsky pumping in two. Adam Ruzicka, former Calgary Flame contributing there. I believe he plays in the KHL now, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and at the end of the day, though, I think this may be the best start you could have for a neutral hockey fan because one thing that is good about the NHL is the parity to a certain extent, where like any team can win on any given night, and you don't necessarily always get that with best on best hockey. Like if you have like a Canada USA, sure, like any team, either of those teams can win on any given night. But on paper, if there's a little bit of disparity, most of the time it shakes down that the favored team is going to win. However, the way we started this tournament, it seems like anyone has a chance to win on any given night, and teams that are lower in international rankings are keeping themselves in the fight. The unfortunate thing, though, Team Canada playing Czechia tomorrow. I believe it is going to be at 10:50 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I don't
It's
know.
7 a.m. Pacific
It-
time.
Is it 7 a.m.?
Definitely a dagger, but
It is 10:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The time zones mixed up there.
first strike, first strike.
Ethan liked that. A little good save. Um, the point I was trying to make was not about the start time. It was just the fact that Canada is highly favored on paper. However, uh, Czechia, based on what they saw today, I'm sure would be capable of pulling off an upset there if they really wanted to.
Yeah, Czechia's got a good squad. They're not as loaded as some other teams, but I think they definitely have a realistic shot at medaling in this tournament, especially like Sweden. I'm going to chalk it up to, I don't know, jet lag, and it's the first game. Uh, there's lots of factors that could go into them kind of underperforming today. But that being said, they did kind of have to squeak one out against Italy. So I don't I think most people would agree it's a two-horse race, but for that bronze medal, I think it's Sweden and Czechia really.
Yeah, and the other thing too is say if Czechia pulls out a win tomorrow, then obviously they finished the group standings going into the playoffs a little bit higher than Canada, and that could set up an early Canada USA matchup that may not set up like if one loss to either Canada or USA, sorry, one loss for either Canada or USA could set up an earlier knockout game between the two countries than you probably want. And say if they face each other in a quarterfinals or semifinals, then that leaves the door wide open for another team to play for gold.
It's a little bit tough, I think, when most people would agree if it doesn't end in a Canada US final, it's a letdown. I think everybody wants the rematch from Four Nations, and it's the world's number one hockey rivalry, so it will be a bit of a bummer if it doesn't shake out with those two in the finals, but I guess it is being a little bit unfair to just assume that that's going to take place.
Yeah, do we know how I don't know how the matchups are determined for the knockout games because there's three groups, so I don't know how it would be determined if USA is drawn on the same side of the bracket as Canada or not. But like I agree with you, if we got Canada USA, for example, as a semifinal rather than a final, it's not going to hit the same for sure. Obviously the rivalry will still be there, but like growing up in the Greater Vancouver area, I think everyone remembers where they were February 2010, and Sidney Crosby scored the golden goal. And so, that's kind of the expectation for the atmosphere. I think a lot of Canadian and American hockey fans are setting. And if you're not playing for that same prize, it's doesn't mean the game's worth any less. You still have to win that game to get to the gold medal round, but maybe it loses just a little bit of its excitement with the prize not on the line.
I mean, I think it'd be a pretty huge disappointment, to be honest, because everybody's just going to look at that game as the gold medal game and could be proven wrong. As we've said, they have to go out there and play the games for a reason. You can't win the games on paper, but I I just don't think any other team really comes close. Sweden's probably the next closest, but then like they lost Leo Carlson, no Jonas Brodin, Gustafsson looked pretty tough today against Italy. So I think it's two-horse race again. I could be proven wrong, but I'd be pretty shocked. So Canada's first. I mean, I'm kind of glad they're starting with Czechia because we'll get to find out right away whether or not Bennington's dialed or what they have to do, and then after that, it's two kind of cupcake games, I believe. So
Yeah, and I do really like Czechia's roster. I do kind of like the flair they have. They got some weapons as well. Obviously, David Pastrnak being the main man scoring wise. They got some big defensemen, Radko Gudas and Martin Fehervary. Um, one of my favorite names to say in the National Hockey League.
couldn't
Um,
tell, couldn't tell.
but uh, but for me, like I know you're probably not too thrilled with them starting Bennington, but this is what I said from the start. You go Bennington one, probably Thompson against the Swiss is what I imagine, and then kind of reevaluate from there. That being said, if you go Bennington one and for whatever reason he doesn't deliver, then like I said, you're behind the eight ball and you may set yourself up for a tougher quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. And I think with the talent Canada has, it's not like I mean, I would be surprised if Bennington completely sunk them and just lost game outright for them. But either way, I would hope that this team can outscore those problems against Czechia if it does come to that. Uh, I don't think I have as much faith in Bennington as most people do, based on the numbers the last 2 years. I know historically he has been an above 900 save percentage goaltender, and yes, he's a gamer, but I'm weary of just trusting a guy to turn it on in the middle of a season when he's been very underwhelming throughout the majority of the campaign. That being said, the defense in front of him is going to be vastly improved, and I am sure that teams will be spending quite a bit less time in the Canadian defensive zone as opposed to the Blues, where he's probably getting peppered pretty hard. So we'll see. Again, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does very well.
Yeah,
Make
well,
Canada proud, but yeah.
and like that's the thing you mentioned the defense and obviously on paper the skaters for Canada are stronger than that of Czechia. I think historically this is probably the weakest trio of goalies we brought to the Olympics historically. Darn.
Gotta smoke the
Um,
light cigarettes.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I gotta cut down a pack a day. Can't cut it anymore. Um, and what's the it's Paul Malls? I know that one.
Ah, you're a Bob Hall guy.
Yeah.
Full or smooth or what?
Oh, always smooth.
Nice.
And no, I was just gonna say there. You know what else is good other than smoking Pall Malls? Kids don't smoke. The Czech goaltending, right? Like I haven't looked at who they're starting, but they have Karel Vejmelka, Lucas Dostal, and Dan Vladar, and none of those guys are the most exceptional names in the world, but Dostal's looked very strong for Anaheim. Vejmelka and Vladar have both kind of won over the starting roles for Utah and Philadelphia. So are they the most elite goaltending trio in the world? No, but any of those three guys for Czechia, I feel like are capable of making a big save to turn around momentum in a game for sure. I don't discount their goaltending.
Kind of tough. I think we're gonna lose the goalie matchup in most games here, which I don't love. Obviously, you'd like to be going in with prime Carey Price as we did last time the NHLers went to the Olympics, but as I said, probably gonna have to outscore our problems. I think the defense is stout enough that they can make up for it, but yeah, I don't know. It's been talked about a lot. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm happy it's finally getting underway because the lead up to this has been a long, long time in the making. So
Yeah, and I will say too, goaltending's obviously not everything because like 2006, right? Like, we don't want to bring up here in Canada the 2006 Olympics, but Was it Canada didn't even medal at that in 2006, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. So there you go. And you with Martin Brodeur.
They didn't take
And
Crosby for that. I believe they left him out.
they did leave him out. Yeah, 2010 was his first one. 2006 is Martin Brodeur. I think Patrick Roy was on that team, and I can't remember who the other goalie was. Yeah, they didn't even medal.
Oh,
Yeah, seventh place. So goaltending is not everything. Now, for those at home, please excuse me if I got any facts about the 2006 team wrong. I was 6 years old, so I was not quite in my peak analytical form at the time. You know what I don't like though? I don't like how they do the women's one. The women's one is weird to me. Like, have you looked at the women's format?
oh, I thought you were just saying that you didn't like that the women had Olympic hockey. I was like, damn, bro.
No, no, I'm fine
Did.
with that. I just don't like I'm fine with that. I just don't like the women's hockey format. Do you know how it's done?
No.
So what they do is they take the top 10 teams in the double IHF standings, or in this case, top nine plus Italy, because the host nation has to compete in all events. And so Pool A is the top five teams that basically play around robin. And Pool B is the bottom five teams. And what it is for the quarterfinals is all five teams from Pool A advance, and the top three teams from Pool B advance. And I'm like, how stupid is that?
Yeah, so what's the point of the game?
Because like, what's the point of the games exactly in the first ones? Thankfully, though, the games don't actually matter because we got cranked 5-0 by the Americans. So thankfully, that didn't actually matter. That was a throwaway game. But
Right.
I still really don't like that format.
Yeah, it kind of just lends itself to a bunch of meaningless hockey, which is pretty unfortunate. But I'm gonna be real. I'm not gonna be watching until the medal rounds kick in for that over there. So hopefully our ladies can figure it out in time for that. Hopefully Marie-Philippe Poulin can get healthy because I don't think she played
She did not.
yesterday. Yeah, she got hurt, which is
Well,
pretty big dagger for our ladies team.
and that's the other thing. There's actually two good points to bring up with that. First of all, yes, best wishes to Marie-Philippe Poulin, as if we like to say, because I have to pronounce it properly. Um,
That was cool.
Yeah, by the time we get these reels out, we're gonna have no more Quebecois viewers, but that's okay. That's another thing I don't like, just having it be around robin and all five teams in Pool A advancing anyways. It's like people are getting hurt for no reason. Like the game against Czechia, very physical, very hard fought game. Obviously, you're at the Olympics, you're gonna give your best. These are all professional athletes. But then if you get an injury, you're getting injured in a nothing game, which is very unfortunate. The other thing I want to say, I just want to give a shout out to the mentality of an Olympic athlete, and specifically Laura Stacey, because the amount of fortitude you have to compete at a high level in the Olympics is it's pretty admirable in my opinion. And obviously, we've seen some big injuries at these Olympics so far. Canadian snowboarder Mark McMorris got injured in big air practice. He wasn't able to partake in that event. I'm heard he's good to go for slopestyle. Lindsey Vonn was already skiing on a torn ACL, and she thought that was a good idea, and then she injured it even more. I don't,
Fucking
I,
gift it. Yeah.
that's okay. She
Can
also
you pull that
thought,
up, Ethan?
but you know what? She also thought that marrying PK was a good idea, and we all make mistakes.
Well, you
So
know, at
there
least
you
they
go.
didn't. At least they decided before they did it that it wasn't a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you play the wrong card. Uh, style. But the reason I brought up injuries is, of course, against Czechia, we mentioned Marie-Philippe Poulin, who's the captain of Team Canada, gets injured. And her Olympics aren't done, but she didn't play. And then Laura Stacey goes and puts one in the back of the net. And for those who don't know, Laura Stacey is Marie-Philippe Poulin's wife. And so it's very rare, I think, in sports that you get to compete on a team with your spouse. I just know that if I was on a team, first of all, currently single, if there's any takers, but second of all, I just know that if I was on a team with my spouse, obviously there's no Olympic like co-ed hockey, But let's just say hypothetically there was and they got injured. I would be focused on that for the rest of the game. My focus would probably not be on the game. I'd be just like, holy shit, like my wife just got injured. Like, what's going on with her? So big shout out to Laura Stacy for maintaining her composure and putting one in the back of the net for us.
That's why you're not Olympian, bro. Not dialed.
Yeah, that's why I have a podcast.
Not dialed. I don't know. Is tennis doubles
You can
co-ed?
have mixed
I don't
doubles.
know.
Yeah, yeah, you could totally do that in tennis for sure. Yeah.
There you go. I think they play on the same team in the PWHL as well. Montreal.
They do the victoire.
The Victoire. Wait.
Yeah, no, there's definitely like co-ed sports. Speed skating is another one. They have mixed speed skating relays. It's just one of those things where like I don't play any of those sports, so
Did you see Jake Paul's girlfriend won gold in the 3,000 meter?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I at the beginning of these Olympics because there's so much going on. You can only take in so much. I kind of said to myself, I said, I'm watching basically three things because I don't have the ability to watch all of it and follow all of it closely. So I'm either just catching it a little bit here and there, or I'm really investing in three things. So what I've decided is freestyle snowboarding,
Sweet.
bobsleigh, Team Canada hockey. Those are my things. Other than that, I haven't really been paying attention. So unfortunately, no, I did not see Jake Paul's lady in the speed skating there.
Fair. Well, she's Dutch, so shout out. Way to bring one home for the fatherland there.
They like shopping overseas, don't they? Was it Logan Paul's girlfriend is what Nina Egdahl, the Danish model, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they're married now, but
Okay, they may be married now. Yeah.
yeah, that was Jake Paul's girlfriend. Uh, should we talk about football
We can,
somehow?
unfortunately.
Somehow.
You can talk about football all you want.
All right. I guess we'll talk about the Olympics more as the games go on and we get more to talk about here. But we did have the biggest sporting event of the year just occur this past Sunday, and unfortunately for me, I am not going to be getting
Was
$250.
it the biggest sporting event of the year?
Yeah, Super Bowl. Are you kidding me?
No, it's not the F1 World Championship race this weekend. Kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, I wasn't prepared to have to fight you on that. I was like, come on. Anyways, averaged 124.9 million viewers. That was the average that I saw for the game. Anyways, crazy. But yeah, the fucking Seahawks took home the championship. All right, let's go, man. The only team I cheer for that ever does anything for me. Knew it was gonna happen the whole time. Not only did they win, they fucking embarrassed the Patriots from start to finish. Drake May and the boys couldn't even get a first down. I've been seeing on Twitter they're calling him Drake the Schedule May.
That's
Because
pretty
the
good,
only reason that
actually.
they were in the Super Bowl. But yeah, fucking right. Shout out Seahawks. They had the parade today. I don't know if you saw any of the speeches at the parade, but they were all absolutely fucking turned. It was so funny. Um, yeah, I would say condolences, but I'm happy your team lost. So
You
okay.
know what? You saved me. Here's the thing. Am I happy with that result? No. However, for those who don't know, I just recently moved, and we're still kind of working on sorting out the finances. So the fact that I didn't have to pay out any money and you saved me from that, this if I was ever going to lose a Super Bowl, this might have been the most beneficial one to lose.
Fair enough.
Actually,
I
I've go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I threw down a couple of wagers on this game. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. I definitely bet a little bit more than I typically would. I finished today 48 cents under what I started on, so it
Jeez Louise.
didn't hurt me. Didn't hurt me too badly. I was pretty much even there. But yeah, Kenneth Walker winning MVP saved my bacon for sure. Made me all my money back. The coin toss is what fucked me though. That's what I threw the most amount of money on the coin toss. It's 50-50 chance. And Joe Montana fucked me. So classic 49er.
Is it tails?
I went tails and it was heads.
Yo, I feel like That's just standard. You got to go tails. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I don't. I just had a gut feeling. Gut feeling led me astray, but pretty funny. Gavin and Kale bet on like the length of the anthem, like over under 108 seconds or something. They lost that. It's pretty funny.
Do they take the over?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's the thing. If it's like I remember one year is I don't remember what Super Bowl this was, but I remember I think it was like Christina Aguilera. It's just whenever it's like a woman that can really sing, it just goes on and on and on forever because they're just showing off their vocal chops. And this isn't me hating, because obviously they're very talented singers, but it's like if I wanted to hear an hour of Christina Aguilera, I would pay for her
right.
ticket, you
I'm gonna be
know?
real. There's not many things on earth that frustrate me more than when anthem singers just say, "Look at me," and they do fucking vocal runs and riffs on every single line. It's like, bro, nobody came here to see you like sing the anthem. Get the fuck out of here. Like, do your job and leave. I completely agree with you. I don't need you to be showcasing how spectacular you are for the pregame anthem. Like, just want it over with as quickly as possible.
Well, like
But
that's the thing. It's like I don't like anthems for sporting events anyways, especially if it's a sport like hockey, just bringing it back because like the players are all warmed up, they're amped up, they're ready to go. You had the media team getting the crowd hyped up with the visuals and the pregame and everything. And then you're all warmed up, and then you just stand there fucking cold for like 10 minutes because they always do anthem and commercial break. And then, your muscles tense up, you lost all the atmosphere, it's like wind out of the sails. But if you are gonna sing an anthem, for example, like in the Super Bowl before a sporting event, don't make it about you. Because guess what? It's the national anthem, in this case of the United States of America, not the national anthem it's not about you, it's about the song. So I just want to throw that out there. Don't make it about you if you are singing an anthem. You can make it about you with any other original song you would like to sing.
yep, I agree. I kind of wish the NHL would start doing anthem on opening night and anthem in Stanley Cup Finals, and that's it. That's all we need. I know where we are. Okay, I know what country we're in. So does everybody else, especially cheering for Canadian team. We're in the same boat here. It's two anthems every night. Just such a waste of time, I think. But what are you gonna do? Small gripe. They started doing it actually in World War II, and during the MLB season, I believe it was, to like honor the veterans over there, and then just never stopped doing it. So
You know what? Great sentiment at the time. Another thing baseball screwed up. There we go.
disagree. Actually, oh, I mean, not that we're done Super Bowl, but players have reported for spring training. We got the World Baseball Classic coming up here. Pretty exciting times.
Thank God there's the Olympics this year.
Pretty exciting times. Anyways, going back to the Super Bowl, man. I don't know if uh, I've ever seen a defensive performance that dominant in the Super Bowl. What comes to mind quickly is that Broncos team that won 10 years ago, pretty much entirely off the back of that defense with Von Miller, Legion of Boom. You got the Ravens in 2000, 2001, I think it was. And then the 85 Bears, which obviously I didn't see, as well as those Ravens did not see. But from everything you hear, they were just utterly dominant. And that was the Seahawks team. And I think they kind of came out of nowhere for most of the population because Seattle's so far out west that people aren't staying up for the games or not really watching. But this team was incredible, man, all year. Complete surprise to me. I expected us to be okay, but to get the one seed, to just roll through the playoffs. The offense didn't turn the ball over one time in the playoffs, which is wild because Sam Darnold led the league in turnovers, which again is just insane that to win the Super Bowl when your quarterback leads the league in turnovers. But yeah, they finished the season on a 10-game win streak. The defense was just, I mean, everybody on there is just hunting the whole time. They hit hard. They only had to rush four guys, which makes it that much harder for teams to get anything going in the pass game. And yeah, the Patriots just looked pretty inept. Shout out the Patriots defense too. They made life hard on Sam Darnold and the boys, but overall, I just think once Seattle got past the Rams, it was nobody's going to beat this team. Would have been interesting to see if the Broncos could have had Bo Nix. That probably would have been a closer Super Bowl there, but
Well, like that was the
we'll
thing. It's
basically all
like
be
I
drunk.
I don't think going into the season if you told people they would have New England versus Seattle, this is the Super Bowl, that would be on many people's bingo card. That's you know, obviously New England, partly was the schedule, but then you still had to go through the playoffs a little bit, and you mentioned no Bo Nix there. In the game against Denver. So they got helped out a little bit, and Seattle had to go through some big teams in the NFC, including LA. I just didn't really picture either team being there. And it's kind of fun. I like it when our favorite teams are in the mix because it just makes it more fun if you have a little bit of skin in the game, you know? Like past couple years, Chiefs 49ers and then Chiefs Eagles. It's like any Super Bowls, you're obviously going to tune in and watch if you're even remotely a casual sports fan. But like, I have no personal connection to those teams, so the fact that it was my favorite team versus your favorite team, it made it just all that more fun, and in the spirit of camaraderie, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I said, Seattle's the only team that ever does anything for me of all the teams I cheer for. So love you, Seahawks. Thank you for once again making me a happy man. I will say because I mean, really, once the Seahawks beat the Rams, I was about 98% sure that they were going to win the Super Bowl. So when they actually did win, I'd say I was nervous for maybe the first quarter and a half because the Seahawks weren't converting in the red
Well,
zone either, and I was like,
well,
ugh, we'll see. But then Drake May just continued to go out there and looked like he's never played football before in his entire life. So as that went on, I started to feel better and better. So I kind of had felt like we'd won the game at halftime. So when it actually did, the clock actually hit zeros. It wasn't like pure adulation, but
right.
it's cool to see, man. I like you never know really ever if a team that you cheer for is going to win a championship again. So
Maybe it's the fact that it was their second one too. Was they beat Denver back was that 2013,
it was
2012?
13, yeah.
13, yeah. So maybe it is that thrown in there too. It's always a lot more exciting when it's your team's first one. Our friend Gage will probably never find out what that's like. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah,
And
really an odd mix of teams from Cage that have his loyalty.
yeah, and actually, you mentioned I just want to throw this out there because I'm a creative guy. I have a flair for the dramatic sometimes. And we mentioned that one of the best nicknames for a team in sports is the Broad Street Bullies, the Philadelphia Flyers. If I had to make a list of my top five favorite sports nicknames, I think two of them are probably coming from football, and I think one of them is the Legion of Boom. Like, what a great name for the defensive secondary of what I'll call the 2010 Seattle Seahawks. I don't know if it was just for the specific seasons was is Richard Sherman, for those who don't know, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Brandon Browner. And so I don't know how many seasons those four guys actually played together. But if you're gonna have a nickname, have one that strikes fear into your opponents, or have one that's just really fucking cool. And I think the Legion of the Boom, one of the greatest sports nicknames for a collective. I would not want to go up against that defense if I heard that name.
Yeah, dude, watching Cam Chancellor highlights, some of the most fun you can ever have on YouTube. Pulling up that guy's best career hits, just ending careers, giving out CTE like it was welfare checks. So it was pretty fun to get to watch those guys and root for those teams. But
Yeah,
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 the defense this year really had shades of LOB in them, man. They really freaking hit hard. They were super physical, super violent. And the front four, I think really that's the differences with this team. They were great all over, but it was really the D line that led the way with Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, Byron Murphy, Derek Hall. They were just getting after. I mean, every team really, but they were really giving the Patriots rookies on the offensive line some trouble there, especially Will Campbell. He was he was struggling all night. So I think the Patriots will learn from it, though. I mean, Drake May is literally younger than us, so that's kind of pain. But Vrabel, I think everybody knows how good of a coach he is and respects him. Now the schedule is going to be a hell of a lot harder next year, but
yeah.
they
That'll be the true test for sure. Is when they're coming up against the top teams. next year. The good news for them is they didn't win their division, right? Like that's huge. So they don't have to play the other division winners, which will be really nice for them.
Sure.
Um, another good nickname, actually, football. Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. What a great nickname. Or if you watch Formula One, the Minister of Defense in Formula One is Sergio Perez, but Reggie White had the nickname first. That's also a great nickname.
It's okay. Nobody watches Formula One
Yeah. Do you know why he's called the Minister of Defense?
because he was a defensive player, and it sounds cool.
Well, is a defensive player. He's also a Christian minister, big fan of the Lord. So that's why he was the minister of defense. They meant it in the quite literal spiritual sense that he was a defensive football player, one of the best to ever do it, and he was also an ordained minister, a practicing Christian. So there you go,
What?
the minister of defense, Reggie White.
I had no idea. That's cool. I think Megatron's got to be up there too. Calvin Johnson,
There you go. That's great. That's a great one there.
absolutely electric. Yeah.
I like to, if we're going non-football, I like the mailman, Carl Malone. In the NBA, they called him the mailman because he always delivered.
Yeah, true. There's some things about Karl Malone, man. I'll let everybody look into those for themselves. But
Nickname was good though.
yeah, yep, great at basketball for sure. Basketball's got some sweet ones though. I think you said last time like Chocolate Thunder.
Daryl Dawkins, Chocolate Thunder. Yeah, yeah,
That's
that's a good one.
dope one. I like White Chocolate too. Jason Williams.
That's a great one. That's a great one. What else did I say? Oh yeah, John Brockman was the Brockness Monster because he was so bad he was rarely seen coming off the bench.
Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba.
Well, there's so many
Glenn,
classics.
Glenn Big Baby Davis. That's funny too.
I think NBA has the funniest ones for sure.
Yeah.
They're so good. I think actually you said you don't I know G just said that he doesn't care about Formula One, but I think the nickname for the Monza circuit is pretty awesome. They call it the Temple of Speed. That's pretty sick. I think hearing like Temple of Speed just invokes that feeling of adrenaline. There's a few other buildings with good names. Not anymore, but in the NHL, love Rogers Arena's old nickname. We called it the Garage back when it was General Motors Place. The Garage, such a sick name for a hockey arena. My favorite one probably doesn't exist anymore. Is the Igloo, which was of course Mellon Arena. I believe Mellon Arena was demolished in 2012, so that building doesn't exist anymore. But that's probably the Igloo is probably the most fitting hockey nickname for anything, just because the Penguins played there and it looked like a fucking igloo.
Yeah, that was a cool arena. It definitely did get demolished. I saw that. You're a garage guy, hey? Not garage.
Garage, yeah, I don't go
Oh, big.
garage.
It's garage, man. But what do
Is
you
it garage?
are you tomato or tomato?
Tomato,
It's good.
tomato. Are you potato or potato?
I like titers, man.
Taters?
Yeah.
You mashed taters?
Yeah. Fuck. All right. Are we good to wrap up? We're probably good. I'm getting a bit fucking tired.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we love to hear all your comments, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. For this one, I assume most of our listeners are from North America, but tell us who you're cheering for in the Olympics. If there's any events you're excited about, tell us your favorite sports nickname, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Hit up the socials, man. We got a taste of what it's like when you actually get views and shit, and now I'm addicted. I don't want to go back.